after a loved one with care needs can be quite overwhelming, and it's quite daunting when you're trying to find a care company. Things that you need to think about are the type of care that your loved one needs, whether or not the home is adapted if you're going to have somebody living with your parents, as well as if there's any equipment that is needed. Is there enough space in the house to have that equipment, such as a hoist? There are different types of care. The first is live-in care. Live-in care is when a carer comes to live with your parents for 24 hours a day. So they're living with your parents. It could be for 2 weeks, it could be 1 month at a time, and then it swaps with another carer. But they're not working 24 hours a day. So you'll agree on a contract whether they're working 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, depending on your parents' need, but at least somebody is at home with them 24 hours in case of emergency. Hourly care is where a carer will go to your parents' house for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours. It really depends on their need, and it could be once a week, it could be every day. So hourly care is tailored to the needs, and the needs can grow over time. So you may start off having a carer coming once a week for companionship so that your parents get used to having somebody at home with them. And then they get used to it and they really enjoy the company of the carer. They start to feel comfortable with them. They start to feel okay asking for help. And then that care will grow to once a day, once every other day. It really depends on their needs. And as the needs change, the care and the level of care changes as well. So it's fully adaptable to your parents' needs. The last one is a care home. So a care home is where your parents are no longer safe living at home alone, or they might feel lonely and would prefer living with other people. So they will then move into a care home, and that is a residential facility. It can be a nursing home if they have nursing needs, and that is somewhere where they will move into. If you're looking for a home care provider, what are some of the questions that you need to ask? The first thing you can ask is, what is their approach to staff recruitment and training, and how do they treat their staff? For example, what are the standards with which they hire staff? What values do they look for? Do they hire anybody that applies, or do they have really high criteria? How do they train their staff? How many references do they check? And are their staff paid for training? Are they paid for travel time and mileage? Because if staff are treated well, they will then treat your parents well. Are they offered 0-hour contracts, or do they have guaranteed hour contracts? Because carers will stay longer with a company if the company is able to meet their financial obligations and allow them to pay their bills. And this is why guaranteed contracts is really necessary. The type of training that carers receive is important. So for example, if your parents have Parkinson's disease or a type of dementia, is the carer trained in dealing with that disease? Will they know how your parents will need to be supported to promote their independence and choice whilst living with that illness? It's important to look at the values of the company and how they also treat their staff. Will your parents have a carer turning up to their house that they've never met before? Or will they allow that carer to shadow somebody who's a senior member and who's met you before? What type of communication do they have with the family? Do you have to contact the office Monday to Friday 9 to 5? Or is it more flexible and you're able to speak to somebody if you have any concerns at any point during the week or weekend? Will they have the same carer each time, or will they have random carers coming day in, day out? How they treat their staff will say a lot about their own values. What happens if the carer is on annual leave or is off sick? Do they have staff that will be able to cover the visits with your parents? Who's going to come and replace that carer? It's really important to identify if the care provider has won awards, what their client reviews say, and also what kind of a rating they have from the Care Quality Commission. The Care Quality Commission is an independent regulator for all health and social care in England. They will come and inspect every care provider that provides personal care services or medication to a client. It's important to understand what rating the home care provider has. Is it good? Is it outstanding? Or is it inadequate and requires improvement? You can view the rating by going to CQC's website. The address is www.cqc.org.uk. Another important factor is looking at client reviews, which you can read on Google, for example, or on homecare.co.uk. You will be able to read and understand the kind of care that clients are receiving from that provider. Does the provider allow you to speak to their current clients to get feedback and to see what they think about their staff? It's important to understand how the fees work. For example, is a deposit required? What is the payment that you will be invoiced for? How often will you receive invoices? What is the cancellation notice period required? What happens if you go to a hospital? Do you still have to pay for care to maintain the same carer and timing of the visits? It's very important to understand all of the financial implications of the care provider. We hope you found this information helpful. If you would like help or support, please don't hesitate to contact us at 0208 610 9778 or by email at info@comfortcareathome.co.uk, or you can visit our website at www.comfortcareathome.co.uk. Thank you.